So, one of the most common questions that I've been asked over the last 20 years of being a fitness coach is how many days a week should I actually work out if I want to build muscle and strength without burning myself out, even though I am a busy man? Well, the truth is that it really does depend on a couple different things more than just the results. Number one, like, what are your goals? What's your lifestyle? How consistent will you actually be to get that result? Okay. So, with that said, how much time can you realistically commit per week? Your training history. Are you already lifting or are you just getting back into the swing of things? The main thing is you want to think about your primary goal too. Do you want more muscle size? Are you trying to increase strength? Maybe a balanced combo of both or something totally different. So the thing is that your preferred workout style is going to matter immensely based on what you can keep consistent with. So this what we're talking about today, this is going to be structured, steady, strength focused, and it's going to be less intense and aerobic than HIIT and more focused on building muscle and increasing strength. So, hey, if you're coming back, welcome back. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Lance, and since 2005, I have helped hundreds and hundreds of high-performing entrepreneurs, creators, and online professionals reset their metabolism, drop fat, build strength, and get back their edge. But all without any of the extreme diets or gym bro tactics that seem to just not fit anybody's lifestyle and burns us right out. One of the big mistakes that I see is trying to use the wrong style of workout or the wrong frequency of training when your goal is muscle size or strength. I'll explain that here in just a minute, but if you're doing hard workouts for a different goal, you might work all you want to work and you're not going to see the results that you want, okay? A lot of times I see this where men think that they're working out towards more size and their workouts are more in alignment with fat loss and athleticism, and other guys, they're working out so heavy and with such large gaps, rest gaps between their sets, they're gaining some strength, but they've got everything wrong, so they still look like a small version of themselves even though they're gaining strength, okay? So with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive on in, and we're going to talk about specifically how to break down the optimal structure for strength and hypertrophy splits that fit your lifestyle, why this style also is going to suit most guys who do want to build muscle, train sustainably, and maintain strength without high impact sessions or working out like an American Ninja Warrior, okay? So let me go ahead and share my screen here as usual, and we will jump on in. Oh, wait, there it is. Cool. All right, cool. So how many days a week should I work out? What is the best strength and hypertrophy split for men over 35 who also want to be able to still perform well in their business and career? I've done a little bit of everything, and I've seen with training clients what works and what doesn't, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the very first thing we're talking about is determining your training style. Now, first thing is I just did a video based on if your goals are more for fat loss with some muscle gaining, you're going to be more interested in my video on HIIT and circuit style. Trust me, it's not going to be your average stuff that you've heard before about HIIT. I'm going to break down some different things. So if your goal is less muscle size and more on fat loss and some muscle, you're going to want to check out that video right after you check out this one. So very first thing that we're going to talk about is strength and hypertrophy. Who is it for? Well, guys who want muscle growth and increased strength with some fat loss. Notice that fat loss will come. I've done strength and conditioning style training for the last 20 years with some high intensity interval training sprinkled in, but I prefer this because the more muscle you put on by doing it this way, if your nutrition is good, you're going to get more muscle size, and the more muscle you get on you is going to lead to a faster metabolism, and eventually, if your nutrition is strong, less fat without doing all of the HIIT style workouts. Now, again, it's going to be a preference based. If you don't have the time and you want to do both where you're losing fat and building muscle, I highly advise that you check out my other video. But if you're like me where you can, as you see here, if you have 40 to 50 minutes a week to dedicate to workouts, 40 to 50 minutes per day, a few times a week towards your workouts, this will be for you too. And also for guys who prefer a steady, more structured routine over high impact, fast paced training. Again, I'm going to make the joke that it's more like American Ninja Warrior, and it's not. HIIT is not necessarily like that, but it can feel like that. maybe where you're doing burpees and plyometric things that just kind of burn you out, more of an anaerobic. And true HIIT, like CrossFit style training or cross training, is going to be more of a blend of anaerobic and aerobic training, whereas this here, we're focusing on anaerobic, okay? So next thing, why does it work? Well, it works because of progressive overload, where we're adding more weight and volume over time, and we're putting more of a focus on increased weight resistance as opposed to a focus on just burning calories. That's why this is going to work significantly better than HIIT when it comes to building muscle, with a secondary focus of fat loss. It's also going to, if you're doing this right, it's going to incorporate both compound and isolation movements for maximum muscle recruitment, okay, which means more strength and size, which leads to fat loss rather than just focusing on calorie burn and hoping to get some muscle strength and size out of it, okay? Now, obviously, I'm reducing this, quite a bit to almost the ridiculous, but this is kind of the way that this is. It's also going to be better for joint health, less bouncing, less impact stress, less aerobic activity. So for me, if you do this right, especially with good time under tension, and I don't mean ridiculously slow, I mean where you're using time under tension on the eccentric and you're using explosive techniques on the concentric, which I'll break those down in other videos, that's going to be way, way better for your joints, especially when you're focusing on maximum control of the weight you're using. A lot of people get this so mixed up where they think that lifting heavy or even moderately heavy is about using as crappy a form as you need to move the bar from point A to point B. Well, that's one way of doing it, but that's usually what's going to lead to lacking results and is going to lead to more of the joint issues and just burnout, to be honest, okay? So this here is going to focus more on load than intensity. Now, we use intensity, but the intensity is used to get yourself as close to failure on each set rather than the intensity of bouncing around and keeping your heart rate as high as possible for the sake of keeping your heart rate up. So heavier weight, it'll be less aerobic or less cardio, less balance and athletics. And when I say balance, I mean you're not going to need as much stability in doing these, where you're doing like a single leg or a plank row or something like that. It's just going to be focused on the muscles you're trying to grow rather than focus on just trying to obliterate your body in 30 to 40 minutes, okay? Why is it, here, let's just remove that. Why? Oh, come on now. Why is it different from HIIT? Well, lower intensity, but higher volume and heavier weight. That's the first one. Second is it's going to focus on strength and size over calorie burn and plyometrics. I've already mentioned that, but it's so important to keep in mind. The other thing is your rest periods are going to be a little bit longer. Now, when you look this up, a lot of times people are going to say anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. That's more of a focus for strength, whereas if you do want more hypertrophy and strength, 30 seconds all the way up to 2 minutes is going to be ideal. Why would I only do 30 seconds? Well, 30 seconds is going to be more for hypertrophy, whereas the 2-minute time is going to be more for strength. I like to do somewhere in between, where I use 30 to 60 seconds between mine, and it works really well. Now, if I go heavier on a compound movement, yes, I'm going to do more rest in between that so that I am getting a little bit of recovery before my next set, okay? So, but you can keep rest as short as 30 seconds as long as you're recovering enough for the next one. Will you notice possibly that your the weight has to be decreased at occasion? Yeah, if you're doing more than 3 sets, yeah, you might have to. Ultimately, I'm going to recommend that, again, anywhere from 2 to 4 sets is going to be fine. If you're going for more volume and less failure, you're going to want to do more volume or more sets, 3 to 4. Whereas if you're able to go for more of that maximum effort intensity on your actual sets, all you really need is 2 if you're going to as close to failure as possible. Okay. Now, the next one, how many days for strength and hypertrophy? Well, very first thing is you're going to see this here is 3 days microcycle structure, but I'm going to talk with you first about the 2-day split. So we've got a 2, 3, 4, and 5-day split. Are there more? Yes, you could technically work out once a week. If you want to do like Arthur Jones, Mike Mentzer style, you could do as much as 6 times a week if you want to do the bodybuilding modern lifestyle. The reality is, first of all, are you on any testosterone? If you're not, and I'm not talking about on gear, I'm talking about testosterone to make sure your test levels are good. If not, you're probably going to recover more slowly. Doing 5 to 6 days a week is not going to be your game. I can promise you that. Whereas if you are on testosterone, you can get away with doing 5 to 6 days a week, but does that really fit your lifestyle? Does it really, is it necessary for your goals? Probably not. So what we typically focus on is 2, 3, 4, or 5 days. 2 days, does it work? Sure. If you're a newbie, or if you've only got 2 days a week to work out, go for it. Okay, it's going to be better than nothing. So don't convince yourself that 2 days is not enough to make active gains. But if you are only going to work out 2 days a week, you've got to make sure that you're either hitting max volume in those 2 days or that you're hitting max intensity using progressive overload, making it harder on yourself compared to the week before. Otherwise, you will not see the results you want. You're going to get calorie burn, but you won't see the strength and muscle mass that you're after, okay? So how that looks, and that's why I showed this one here. Where's that at? Style 1. Oh, there it is. Style 2, week 1 and week 2 are basically a snapshot of how this would be. So 2 full body workouts in week 1, 2 full body in week 2. It goes A1, B1, repeat. So as you see here, A1 is full body 1, B1 is full body 2, and that's all you would do. So for this one, even though this is showing 3 days, I didn't want to, do another slide in there. But essentially it's this style 2, but instead of doing A1, B1, C1, you do A1, B1, and then the week 2, A1, B1. That's it. So it's like style 2, but instead of C1, you cut out the C1 and you're good to go. All right. Now, when you're doing full body, you can also do A1, B1, C1, D1 if you wanted to, but I'm going to recommend just A1, B1. Keep it simple. A1, B1 means that when you see A and B, it's going to be one style of workout. So you might hit the same muscle groups, but you're going to hit them with different workouts. So A1 might be incline chest press, where B1 might be flat chest press. A1 might be leg extensions, where B1 might be leg press. Now, I'm just throwing that out as an example. I'm not telling you that's what you should do. I'm just letting you know that's kind of how that works, all right? So let's talk about the 3-day. Let me go ahead and peel that back there. There we go. So 3 days, what we're looking at here. So there's several different ways to do this. You've got 3 full body sessions where you can do A1, B1, C1, which is where we're talking about right there in the middle. That's what we call style 2. And then we've got upper, lower, upper, which is A1, B1, A2, B2, C1, C2. I know that's a lot, but that's style 3 is what we're talking about there. That's what it looks like. So, upper body, lower body, full body, upper body, lower body, full body. Or you can do this one, which is upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower. 3 different styles to do right there alone just from the 3 days, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into which one you should do. It's really going to matter on how you want to exercise. Is it something that you would dread if you're doing 3 full body workouts? I've done that before and I dreaded the crap out of it. So for me, when I've done 3-day workouts, my favorite typically to do is going to be this one here, style 3 or style 1. So upper, lower, full, or upper, lower, upper, and then the next week, lower, upper, lower. Either one is totally up to you. My least favorite is this one, but it is effective, okay? It's just not something I enjoy doing. And I like to be very honest. I mean, I've done this now. I have worked out for 25 years this year, and I have professionally trained for 20 years, everything from nutrition to fitness to lifestyle for 20 years. 2005 is when I started. I share that with you just so you know, when I say, yeah, something sucks or I don't like it, it's not a matter of I tried this for a few days or a year. It's a matter of like, in the last 20 years, I've tried this and it just does not fit my lifestyle. So take that with a grain of salt, whatever you want to do. Next one is 4-day split. There we go. Let's do the 4-day right there. So, yep, perfect. Okay, so 4-day split. And we'll look at this one here over to the left. Let me move that up just a bit. 4 days. So you can do, there's mainly 2 styles I'm going to talk about. Now, are there more? Yes. But I'm just going to show you these because this is the one that I lean towards with my clients and it works so, so well. So, but I do want to describe a couple different ones. So the first one is where we do upper, lower, and it's an A1, B1, A2, B2, okay? So week 1, A1, B1, A2, B2, week 2, identical. You keep them the same because you're getting 2 different versions of your upper body workout, 2 different versions of your lower body workout each week. Very, very simple, and it works really, really well. Now, the other way that you could do this would be basically instead of upper, lower, would be push, pull, okay? Totally okay. That is more of a full body workout though, because you're doing full body push, full body pull, a break on Wednesday, full body push, full body pull again. Totally okay to do that. Not a favorite way that I like to do it. I do like, if I'm going to do 4 days, my favorite is doing upper, lower, upper, lower. Okay. But again, take that with a grain of salt. If you don't like that, this is preference. This is not going to be something where I'm telling you, oh, if you don't do it this way, it won't work. Now, the other way is more of doing an isolation split that you might also hear as called a bro split. So this isolation split is where we're going to do one example. I'm not going to, I mean, there's literally so many different examples to do. I don't have the time to go through all of them. So just one example. Don't beat this up and go, oh, I've done that. Oh, that's dumb or whatever, because this is just an example. Do I like this one? Yeah, I've done this one. One example would be putting chest and back together, legs the next day, shoulders and traps on maybe Thursday after taking a day off, and then bis and tris. Another way would be doing back and bis, chest and tris, legs by itself, shoulders and traps, and then no bis and tris. There's so many different ways to do this. I put legs and shoulders together. That was awful. I've done chest and tris together, back and bis. I've done chest and biceps and back and triceps. Whatever works for you. Now, when you do those, you do have to keep in mind that if you go to do like back and triceps, and then the very next day you have to do chest, and you're needing those triceps, which might be sore, that's not going to make much sense to do. It's not going to feel really good for that. Plus, you're not going to get what you're wanting out of it because you're sore. Don't work out when the muscles are sore. Okay. So, but this is just the example. This is going to be my favorite one based on especially if you've got short time, because this here only means that you're working at each of those muscle groups only gets hit one time a week. Whereas each muscle group gets hit twice a week. Quite a bit better when you're using both intensity and volume together. So this is the one that's going to take the win for me. All right, let's remove this. Last one is a 5-day split. The only way that I recommend doing a 5-day split is, the only way I'm going to recommend it on here based on what your goals are is going to be to do an isolation split. Keep in mind though, while this does work, it requires more volume per day, so your workouts might be a little longer, closer to 60, 65 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer. Don't have to, but it might need that. And you're only working out each muscle group one time a week. So you're not going to get the volume that you would have had doing the 4-day split. Just as an example would be back by itself, chest the next day, legs the next day, shoulders and traps finally after that, and then bis and tris, okay? Take a weekend off. This works well. This is kind of what I do a little bit right now, but I do a little bit more. I'm not going to go into all that. Where I'm getting my back, I do a little bit of bis after, and after chest, I do a little bit of tris. And then on Saturdays, I will do a second day of legs when I have the energy and the time. So this is my favorite to kind of do, not for specifically for results. I feel like I get better results when I do a 4-day. But on the 5-day, it keeps my workouts a little bit shorter for me, where I'm hitting the lagging muscle groups more often. And it's something that I just enjoy. This is more of a bro split, but I just enjoy this style at least for a month or so. And then I go to a 4-day split, and then back to a 5, and then a 4, and then some days a 6. When I do a 6, it really is not 6 intense workouts. The 6th day is for lagging muscle groups. So keep that in mind. Now, again, guys, these are just examples of things that I've done with clients, with myself. They work, but it's up to you what really fits better. Now, when should you choose strength and hypertrophy over HIIT and circuit? Well, there we go. There's going to be a couple different things to do. Number one, you want to build size, strength, and muscle definition, okay? More than you want fat loss. Number two, you're looking for sustainable, steady progress. You want leanness, but you're not focused on seeing the scale drop right away. If your focus is like, Lance, this belly's got to go, man, this is awful, and I just want to feel better, and I'll put on muscle later, you can start with this, but I would probably, if I were you, I would start, especially if you don't have a lot of time, doing a 3 to 4 day HIIT and circuit combination, where you are going to build some muscle, but it's not your main focus. When I have guys wanting to start with this, you really want to make sure you're getting like 10,000 steps a day, or you're doing cardio. Otherwise, you're likely not going to be burning enough calories to lose body fat like you're wanting to. You will doing this just a little bit slower. So just really hear me out on that you can still lose body fat. That's how I've done this for ages. I just bump up my steps and keep my nutrition dialed in. this is my favorite way, is using strength and hypertrophy to both increase muscle and lose body fat. But if you've got 30, 40, 60 pounds to lose, doing the strength and hypertrophy way, unless you get your nutrition really dialed in, it's going to feel slower for you. And you're likely going to see that the scale increases just as much as it's decreasing at times because of body recomposition. So I just want you to know all these things so you can make an informed decision on what works best for you. This is also for you if you prefer, like me, focused lifting that's slower and more intentional over the high intensity, quick circuits and CrossFit style American Ninja Warrior crap that I just load. It works. It's amazing and it will make you an athlete, but I don't want to keep up with that crap. What I do enjoy on occasion is switching up to do a 3-day strength and hypertrophy split and then throwing in one light, like sprint style, aerobic style exercise or a workout plan too. That one works also. Why should you not use this style? Well, if you're strapped for time and you cannot consistently do these longer sessions of 40 to 60 minutes, this is not for you. If you're looking for high calorie burn and faster fat loss rather than muscle growth, this is not going to be for you. If you don't have the needed equipment at your home or a gym, also not going to be for you. Can you do it body weight? Sure, but you got to have more education on how to modify, how to use your body in more of a calisthenics style. Now, I will say as a sidebar, I love calisthenics. In fact, when I was in high school and I did more calisthenics, I felt like I was just overall in better condition. So I'm actually this year working on getting back into more calisthenics. More on that as we come. Okay, so let's go to, there we go. Let's just move that. No, try that again. There we go. All right. So additional thoughts, strength and hypertrophy splits do not have to be insanely heavy or require a spotter. If you've thought that, that's not accurate. Could it help you? Sure, but it's not necessary. I've not had a spotter in probably 6 to 7 years. I do just fine. Be smart. You can do that. It's great for guys who want to look stronger and more muscular without feeling wiped out, especially if you do my style of slow negatives and explosive concentric, okay? You can also have a long workout or a hard workout, not usually both. Prioritize that correctly, okay? So you can have a hard workout or a long workout, not usually both. You're going to lose some of the intensity when you go too long. Also, without pushing close to failure, which is 1 to 3 reps in reserve, that means if I offered you $1 million and said you've got to get more repetitions, if you can get more than 3 repetitions at the end of your set because you want that $1 million, you did not go light enough or you went too fast on those and did not control the weight, all right? So make sure that if you do want those results, you do want to focus on the speed of the bar movement. You want to focus on explosiveness and going to full failure as close as possible. All right, so let's go through a quick little recap here. Strength and hypertrophy splits are going to be the best for muscle growth and consistent strength. You can choose your split based on time availability, 2, 3, 4, or 5 days. I'm not going to recommend doing 6. Consistency, what can you realistically maintain with your schedule? And what is your goal? Muscle size, strength, or a bit of both is going to be for you. Now, if you found this helpful, guys, there we go. Found that helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe and drop a comment with either your current workout routine or a comment with what questions you might have or which one you're leaning towards doing. I'd love to hear from you. It just really helps out the channel too. Now, if you're looking for a personalized plan to reach your goals better, faster, or to be able to do it in a way where you're achieving more with less pain, fitting into your lifestyle, you can book a free health and fitness audit using the link below in the description box. So that is everything I've got for you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in as usual. You guys rock, and I will see you guys all on the next video.